If it isn't big, mostly positive, mostly positivity. Oh. You want to get in VC, you can do that too. If you're up for it. I'm missing some context here. Is there something I might not be considering?
Basically, ducats are still, like, kind of playable. That's one thing. It's just that at the moment you're restricted to running only one ducat, basically. Like, you need really wonky arms to handle 2 ducats because of the recoil.
Well, what
But
benefit
there is
is
like
that
a ducat
causing?
burger, ducat tatsu, ducat
Right.
this, ducat that. It's just a sidearm now.
Right. So my concern really comes down to what did this solve?
It did solve double ducat lightweights and midweights running a melee punish. Like, FromSoft just really does not like the Viento BVO playstyle. Like 2 guns and melee punish on a very fast build.
So I don't understand why those builds suck. Like, what's the real concern here? Like, they're average, I should say, or like they're average to below
they just
average.
hate lightweight CQC. Despise it even. Like, they have some kind of vendetta against it at all times. I think that's it. I don't think there's any other reason for it. They just really, really, really hate lightweight CQC.
Yeah, we've already punctured the veil on some of these things, so it's like, such as like melee, right? Like, they're not god tier on everything. They're pretty good on most things, but not everything. Some things they're like fucking off in the fields.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, Vientos are like, they're like half patched in Revolution, so they're like, what they reduced on them, I only did it by half.
Yeah.
Because I felt like it was just too much what they did. It made them practically not really. If people want to rush you down, they should be allowed to do that. If that's how they want to play the game. It's a shitty playstyle, they're gonna lose. But let them do it. Like, why not? That's how they want to play the game. Like, I don't see a reason to restrict those type of things.
Me neither. They are also like encouraging CQC in general, so I don't know. I have no idea. It's weird.
I am a little confused on certain things. Like, they buffed Coral Rifle, right?
Yeah.
I use Coral Rifle. I don't know why they did that. Coral Rifle's not bad. I know how players say like it is. It's not bad. It's probably the best weapon in the game.
But something to consider is like weapons like that is like 3 weapons in one. And if one mode of fire is underperforming a lot, then that part of the weapon can be considered bad. And in both WLT and Kurosawa's case, like, sure, the normal fire is usable, but it's not really super good. For that purpose, you'd rather just have any other weapon, regardless of the benefit of being able to stage 1 and 2 charge it.
Right, so like the normal charge, in those cases, you use them for assault boosting. You don't use them for any other purpose. You only really use them to assault boost or to cover your gap in offense because of another cooldown.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's it.
I wonder if WLT Baka could be a thing. That would be funny. Because they buff the impact.
WLT what?
Baka. Basically,
Oh, double.
Baka builds are all just heavyweights with, like, perma assault boosts at you.
I wouldn't do it personally because double WLT I don't think is actually very good. It is average.
It's fine.
Can excel in certain things, but its downtime is just so big. Like, because the charge takes like 3 or 4 seconds to do a level 1 charge. Just too long. Because that's your whole offense. And the thing is, that's only 2 dodges. Like, you can dodge that with a tank and still have energy left over. It's like, that's not good. That's really bad. And the thing is, if you're fighting a tank, they probably have heavier gear than you are. It's kind of concerning. I don't understand this weight. They decreased. Oh, I read that wrong.
Yeah, From Software,
decreased
aside from legs, never increases weight on anything. They also don't increase EN costs on anything, or nerf generator output, and that is for the sole purpose of 1.0 build should be buildable in the latest version, and still, like, compute. It might be nerfed or whatever, but you can still build it in every case. So they make things lighter, they make things cost less energy, but never more, and never heavier. Which I find very agreeable.
So for the beta, the Javelin beta, what's going on with that? Does a 0.5% really make a difference significantly? Does it really change the dynamics on the builds that use it, which is lambs? I don't think it does.
It's not Lammergeier, it's Water Strider. Water Strider with like a 44 Tetra, like with explosive thrower and missiles of choice. It lets you run heavier missiles, and it also lets you up into VP20D instead of Sandtire or Coral Generator. So it doesn't like significantly change how the weapon is played, of course, but it does make Water Strider builds more flexible when they want to run the Javelin.
So is this a good change
Unless
or
you
generally
mean the
bad?
missile. Are you talking about the missile or the Suka?
Talk about the missile.
Oh, the missile. Yeah, no. The missile basically doesn't really accomplish anything.
I just don't see it other than hurting people who use it in a more aggressive fashion. Like, that's it. But the people who use it, which are lambs, to my knowledge, they're like players who run away a lot. I don't think 0.5 seconds makes any difference. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'd prefer to be wrong, but I'm gonna adjust it otherwise. I forgot that I have to do this. I've been holding it off.
Yeah, no, basically, like, it does increase a window of vulnerability slightly longer, because a Lammergeier with a Javelin missile ready or fired is less scary than a Lammer without. And it's also like to run the Javelin missile tags you, and then you get one-shot staggered by hammer if you're a medium weight or you have taken like impact build up in advance. If you're a rush down build.
Okay, so
but it doesn't really accomplish anything.
It sounds like it's actually a pretty big deal. I'm probably gonna keep it at 4.1 then. I just haven't been playing.
The thing with that missile is that you don't really spam it, like off lock, like whenever you're locked on and ready and reloaded.
Well, like 0.5 seconds. Yeah, 0.5 seconds is a pretty big vulnerability though, because that's like a 30% increase to your vulnerability position. It's like not 30%, it's 12%. 12, 3, 10. Yeah, it's like 12, 15%.
Yeah.
I don't think it breaks it too much. Okay, cool. Boosters. Are boosters reasonable? Their adjustment to upward boosts?
It did open up guilds, finally, for something other than Lammergeier. So that's neat. Guilds are in a very solid spot now. They are basically... excuse me, eating while talking. They are basically more efficient Alula, without any melee thrust. Like, they have pretty fast thrust speed, their upwards economy and output is pretty solid. The quick boosting does not go a long distance, but you can double tap it if you really need to. Yeah, the assault boosting is way more economical than Alula. So it's a really solid, like, lightweight, mid-range or CQC-ish booster.
So generally, the upward boost is just a positive for all these boosters they have.
Honestly, all upward thrust is generally a positive. Like, considering Gridwalker's output is as high as it is. Because, like, either you'd have to bring Gridwalker down and then consider every other booster fine, or you kind of need to bring a lot of different boosters up, because versus some vertical kite builds, they just can't really do anything, and that's pretty obnoxious. You don't really want to get build checked by a booster, you know. That kind of feels bad. Unless it's Mule, then you kind of earned it.
Oh, poor guys.
Mm.
Alright. I see what's going on here. We'll revert. Or we'll update these specifically to the new standard. I just don't have a lot of mental energy to currently analyze these. And it's easier to follow it and then revert than not do that, because then it's just more work in the long term. Like, way more work. Wow, they buffed freaking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by a lot. What the fuck?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 has gotten a lot of love from FromSoft.
It's like 15% boost. What the fuck?
Yeah. But to be fair, like, it was a very niche booster, which only had, like, one place, and that was Water Strider. Like, it didn't really accomplish anything else at all. And Water Strider's big weakness was things like verticality or things like permakiting as well. So now that booster is more generalized. So it gets less build check by all the boosters.
Well, I think they buffed the assault boost last patch for it, didn't they?
Yeah. I don't remember if it was, maybe it was the startup of the assault boost, I don't remember. But yeah, it can shuffle way better now, which is good. Honestly, the thing is, like, you don't really... If a booster is to have any kind of significant weakness to it, then it really needs to hard excel at something else. In general, you want relatively generalized boosters that kind of... Like, there's no real area where they just don't function. You generally don't want that, because it's your movement system. Like, it's very important to have that not feel like ass.
L21D.
Now, honestly, I think, like, the only deserved booster nerf was Purcell, assault boost speed. And other than that, I think every other booster nerf has been just a complete waste, and every booster buff has been a World Cup edition.
I think Pernada talked about something about this. This is like the direction they typically go in, is they increase, like they increase flow pretty much, like cross board.
Yeah.
And it's only ever been a positive pretty much for every single game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, if you want to...
They decreased assault dodge costs for Burzil?
Yeah,
what
they did.
The fuck? That must have been last patch, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the patch before this one. Because Percival, while fast, was just so energy hungry that you couldn't really shuffle with it, honestly. You'd be better off with other boosters when it came to assault boosting, just because, yeah, you just redline yourself so quickly on Percival. But now it's very playable. It's a really solid booster now for assault boosting, which it should be.
I have to analyze this because I did some changes to these, so it's like, okay, what are we gonna do here?
By the way, if there is something you can do to buff and nerf different legs, you can take the from software approach where instead of necessarily adjusting stats directly, you increase and decrease weight. That's a really solid way to go about it because yeah, then if a leg is just too fucking good because it's always in your face and it's so fucking stat dense, then you can make it heavier. If a leg is really fucking shitty because it has virtually no stats or utility or what have you, then you can make it lighter, then it's more worth because you gain speed.
It's a little bit too dynamic of a system, that, versus dealing with things that are like more reasonable to calculate, that I found.
Yeah.
It's like doing weight is like a variable, right? Depending on the build they're making with those leg types specifically. I just find it very. They already have a foundation. It's easier to add to the foundation than adjust the foundation itself.
Yeah.
Because I don't know the percentage numbers and gains and stuff, but it's like.
It's basically just a very cheap way to, hey, no one ever uses this leg. Why? And then it's because, well, it sucks in one way or another. Okay, but what if it was a little bit lighter? And then suddenly you hit some wacky weight threshold and it becomes pretty good for what it does.
Post recovery on Okoshi, I'm guessing that's just kind of like a QOL.
Yeah, and it's like it makes the generator more forgiving. It doesn't make it forgiving, but it makes it more forgiving.
20D
because,
is
well,
an interesting
Okushi's
one.
main weakness is the post recovery. Like, you can't ever redline with that thing or you're just dead. And that's still the case. How does this work? I got a new steam blower.
So the 20D, that generally looks like a positive change for general gameplay.
I think they overbuffed the
recovery is pretty low.
When you get energy back after having used energy and not redline.
Yeah, 2.35 is kind of low. 2.6 was actually reasonable for what you were doing with that generator. It's a big reservoir. We're not going to do that one. Yeah. We're not adjusting that. I do got to go back though and look at the previous patch.
Yeah, I think it was in a really good state before they did that buff. Just because, well, it's so fucking broken when you don't redline it now. It's actually just so disgusting. You can... Yeah, I don't know, it's just crazy, because the output on that thing is so high, meaning that your efficiency just becomes high by default, and then when like you barely wait a second, and then it just instantly starts regenerating to full capacity in
instantly pretty much. Yeah, because its regeneration is just crazy high for most people's setups.
Yeah. It's like that stupid 30 FPS Lammergeier thing that I made. Like, conventional builds can never get close to that thing, by the way, because it moves so fucking fast with gills. And it gets all of its energy back instantly, as soon as it touches ground for just a split second. you just make so much distance, and then you get energy back to do it all over again instantly. I don't know. I think it was. I think it could like. I think that part could maybe be buffed, but not as much. Like it's. I don't know. I don't appreciate that change is all.
What, the 20D?
But you know, a buff is a buff. We take buffs. Buffs are nice. Buffs are cool.
You're talking about 20D, right? We're still on 20D.
Yeah, 20D.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Like, for instance, the glitch thing with the FPS, I don't think it's very relevant in Revolution, because
Yeah, no, it's it's a very fringe case. Like even then, but still, I think it makes the generator just a little too old Sentai-like, if that makes sense. Where you don't really play with energy at all. And
yeah, you just keep burning it. Yeah, because 2.6 was a pretty big negative versus 2.3. A little,
yeah,
a little lax, some would say. Little lax.
yeah, like I don't know, it's.
One.
But still, though, like I'd rather see a good VP20D than a bad one. So it's fine.
Sounds like it's kind of a. It sounds like it's a backwards change to me. Like, blues are supposed to have to require better gameplay. Generally, that's how they're designed. But the game's so fast, like, you don't have to really do that. Because the regen is quick, is what I mean.
Yeah, no, that generator sure is something. It's pretty good now. I like Nebula Water Strider on 20D, just quick boosting all the time, all over the place. I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they quick boost behind cover, and by the time I round the corner, they are full tank again. It's pretty fun.
Oh, it sounds like fun. Honestly, like,
Yeah.
you just described exactly what I want to play. How did you manage this?
There's a Nebula Strider version of like just Nebula and then explosive thrower and missiles of choice on Halcore, I believe. And yeah, that's basically how it plays out. Like you just fire explosive throwers and Nebulas and missiles. And when you are about to run out, you scoot behind cover and then you touch ground for a second and then you're full tank again and can just repeat.
Incredible.
Yeah, very wholesome.
I'm confused here. I think I changed something by accident. Yeah, I found a bug.
Uh-oh.
This is not supposed to be adjusted. I don't think so, at least. Let me check the notes. Splits. Split. Oh, can I not? Okay, I can do find.
So.
Split missiles. Keep changes from one. Okay. Single split bug. That means they might be here. Oh. For weapons.
Oh, that's the coil, I see. I think.
Okay. The 8 is the single large one, isn't it? Pretty sure it is, right?
Which one? The split missiles? 8 is the singular one, yeah.
The single large. Because there's a single small, single large. Yeah, that's getting reverted. That's...
No, there's two doubles. There's like a small double and a big double. And then there's the single.
Okay, which ones are those? Yeah, we're gonna just keep
8 is single, 12 is little double, and 16 is big double.
Or let's keep this how it is. I take back my changes.
duos and splits are very good now. Very good rushdown, like anti-kite missiles, because of their high uptime and weird trajectories when people are trying to backpedal away from them.
They definitely make them reload really quick. I'll write this down. This just doesn't look right. Split 8, look at. Good. Okay, now we're gonna jump back another patch, because I guess I have to go back over 107 again. So that's fun.
Wow.
This patch had a little bit more things in it. Fuck. It's hard to tell, like, exactly what is getting updated and isn't getting updated. Having to go through manually every single weapon is kind of not fun. I wrote down the things, but I think I missed some things. Disease therapist. What were these parts? Because I missed some of these things, I guess. Yeah, 20D QB, I think I didn't agree with the change. Yeah, that's why, because I didn't agree with it. But I guess it's fine. I don't know, because I boosted its normal speed up is why. Like, I boosted its speed up by, I think, it's like 4%, something like that. That's like version 1 patch. Version 0.1. But having that and the reduction in QB, I don't know if that's a good decision. Write down and tell myself that we're going with that, though. It up, going with 107. 107.2 boosters. I'm just having a hard time because they're adjusting things like in a relatively sane period compared to my work that I'm doing.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's alright, it's a good thing in one way.
Yeah.
In another, I don't.
I'd rather have changes than no changes to base game.
EN capacity is probably going to be something we're going to end up going with, because I am noticing no matter what movement, you're kind of restricted pretty heavily on quick boosting, specifically. Not quick boosting, assault boosting. It's kind of hard to do it on lightweight generators, because they just don't have a lot of capacity to support that type of intense movement.
I think that's fine. They do win out on neutral movement.
Like,
And the short distance that they do assault boost, you know, on the full tank, they can't perma assault boost at someone or away from someone, but they can go pretty far. And they don't really need to go that far because, you know, again, superior neutral movement.
we're gonna stay with the generators not being changed. Alright, so we're good on that. Let's start adding some of the stuff now. Like our version 3 tab. A new sheet. Patch. 3. Alright, we're going to take that. What was Fist at again? Fist was at some reduction, and you want it's like 500 or something, right? And you want it to be brought back down to 400.
Yeah, 400 is fine. It's in base game it's 240.
Right, 400 is reasonable. It should be fine to allow some of the melee combos.
Yeah, like, come on, 2 punches. That has to be fine.
It should be. It does like 1100 or 1500 a punch on a stagger, though. That's the concern I have. But it should be. It should be fine. And
yeah.
I don't think fists are gonna even be relevant, to be honest, coming into the patch because of having double melee.
It's just something fun and goofy. Like, it's not even relevant in base game at all. Like, it's just something that. Like, it's just a stupid
It's
thing.
just goofy as hell, yeah.
Yeah, it's just goofy. Who cares?
Alright, we're gonna. Alright, and blue red line. Alright, I didn't write any of this out for me. I did
You write something?
I did document a bunch of stuff. If you want to look at more like projectile stuff, like effects. I did make a more refined 9-ball pulse gun. And it's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. It's a unique model to it. Don't know how we're gonna balance it because that gun shreds you in the game it's in. Like, you have max health and then all of a sudden, like 10 seconds, you don't. Now, Raven was here earlier, and we were discussing how to make a grenade cannon or a grenade launcher work, the original one.
Mm-hmm.
And I was asking him to make some builds so I could see the ratio difference. But he did send me the original specs. You know that weapon only requires 8 energy? Like, are you out of your mind? We're not doing that. 8 energy is like completely irrelevant. That doesn't take anything away from you.
Just slap it on for free.
Yeah, pretty much. No wonder, people run double grenade cannons or whatever. Alright, gotta find. Yes, it's here somewhere. 0x2c is red line. 0, 2 minus. Something I found was interesting is, why the melee weapons, like when we were trying to melee each other, how they would like freak out and we'd miss all the time.
Yeah.
I found out that I'm pretty certain it's just because the homing lock-on distance is messed up. Pretty certain. Because when melee weapons... Yeah, when melee weapons get within 80 meters, they turn into, like, instant lock. Can't easily dodge them. But if you are at an 80, they're, like... It's like shooting, like, in white lock. You might hit them, maybe. I thought that was interesting. Another thing is I did test lock and lock time and lock distance on separate things, and they do work.
Oh.
You just don't have any visual indicator that they are not doing the thing. Like,
Yeah, it doesn't have any UI support. It's just like you need to know.
yeah. So
Yeah,
like,
I see.
yeah, if you have a timer increase, your shots, they'll look like they're aiming at their target. They're not. Because if they like move really erratically, your shot literally just shoots off into the middle of nowhere because it's not locking on. So I don't know how that feels from a player perspective, but definitely like that allows us to add in like sniper rifles. Because you just make them where they have like an extra 0.5 sec lock time.
Yeah.
Which makes them kind of irrelevant in close quarter combat. You can't really use them. Hopefully, at least. Maybe you can. Alright. One change done. A giant list of more stuff. Melee overheat. Minus 5% all melee weapons. Okay. I wish you could just type in melee and it just shows all the melee weapons. That would be very convenient. Okay, so we want here. Okay, cooling. What the hell's overheating on them? I thought it was overheat. Only on weapons that have double melee. Yep, that's what. Yep. Okay, that makes sense. %5 reduction. Very clean, even numbers, of course. Definitely not dealing with decimals here.
I hate decimals. Let's see.
That should be everything. Yes, okay. Cool. This is like the boring part of the patch. Oh. Let's see, Vumsy absolutely right on one of these things.
Which one?
On red line being drawn back. I was sitting on 7.5% as a good drawback on red line for generators. All generators that aren't aorta and like whatever the other one is. Yeah. What he has? Yeah, these are all legitimate. And red line reduction 92.5. Wait, 7.5% or 5? Yeah, 7.5. Okay. Yeah, 7.5 is pretty good. It feels pretty good. All right. Punches swapped. All right, Vumsy, we're doing your punch thing.
Finally.
Finally, I can meme on one specific person. Where is that hit duration? Is it in attack parameter? It is. That's 550. So I might have a specific bias, some would say.
How can one not like punching?
Yeah, who couldn't like it, of course. I just love being fisted all the time. Alright. Melee angling.
Yeah.
Probably should increase it.
You should.
Probably.
Man.
I think I need to get more in depth with it, because some things I think they're gonna need more than that.
Basically, like, it's nice finding, because the AI cheats, right? And some cheat more than others when it comes to reading what you're doing and all that. So it's nice finding, like, okay, if I can hit this AI very consistently, then it's fine. That's the way I went about it. You can, like, Rusty is a good one. If you can hit him every time, then it will probably be overtuned online, and if you can hit him sometimes, then it's probably fine. So yeah, find and Pater. Pater is also very slippery, for instance. So that's a good way to work on your own, at least to get a general idea, and then of course you need to test it out in an online environment, and yeah.
I don't like doing just changes for change's sake without real testing. But yeah, I mean, I did come across and did agree on the angle change as well. Kind of needed. Like,
Yeah.
100%. It's not really like an arguable thing.
Yeah, no, there's, let's see now.
Like, just for every weapon. All of them need it. Just cross the entire thing. Probably not
there's
a sub
like,
boost.
well, kicks don't need it.
This is a pretty easy change anyway, so we're gonna do...
Oh, vertical angling. I see, upward, downward. Yeah. Just...
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, 50 is very reasonable.
Alright, cool. So that's taken care of. That should increase flow in a very positive way. Increase from vanilla. I just remember you just said 5. Like 5 is what you settled on. You found that pretty...
It's like, it makes it so that you can still go over certain melee attacks, especially during like sudden movement. But like, you can't just be on mule and just hold the spacebar, and then you're immune to melee attacks. Oh no, the Born Mesa went upwards, I can't hit him.
Let's see.
Yeah, also 50 is very, very fine. It's far from like overtuned or anything. Like, it needs to be very specific scenarios in place for that to look janky.
Let's take this napalm fire launcher. Decrease. We got to order this. We're gonna move all these over. Because some of these are like copies of things. Because it's just like what I had in my brain. Like, alright, you gotta write this down somewhere. The second staging for weapons is like a whole testing phase that I don't want to do right now. But yeah, we do need to have like projectiles that shoot past like 400 meters. If you get hit by that, or we'll say 500 in this case. Yeah, you need to fucking take damage for that. Like way more than one shot's worth.
Yeah.
You fucked up. That dude read you, hard read you, and ate you with a tiny projectile from across the map. I feel like that payout should be pretty good.
It's only fair.
It's only fair. We're not doing this right now. That's not being done. I'm not gonna make custom animations. Stuff still needs to be documented. Because I'll find the issue why it throws away your whole ammo clip.
Yeah.
Is because the charge attack doesn't have a cutoff. So the game doesn't know what to do when you're able to attack during a charge attack. Because no other weapon actually has that. So it like just defaults to something. And I guess that's just throwing your weapon away.
It's basically emptying your magazine.
Yes.
And if you don't have a magazine to empty, then it chooses to empty the weapon.
Right. Which is not very good. We don't want that.
It could have been like implemented, you know, a little bit more flexibly, but what do I know?
So, did you see the napalm launcher changes?
No, I did not.
No?
I'm excited about napalm. I'm very hype about weapons that are just terrible. Getting brought into a reasonable state.
Yeah, reasonable, dude. You can just fucking make the whole place on fire now. It's very intense. And it still has almost no practicality. But at least you can catch the whole map on fire. It's kind of fun.
That's neat. Also, like, it just lasts for a very long time.
Yeah. Lasts,
okay, I see.
Lasts for 88 ticks. Which
That's
is quite a while or whatever. 24 seconds. It ticks 88 times in 24 seconds. So 4 times a second. If someone's in it. The reload is nerfed a little bit on the gun. Not reload, the capacity is nerfed by like 30% for that. So you get way more effective rounds, but you can't shoot as many for obvious reasons. Because there is slight proximity on them as well, but that was all the way back in the first patch. There's like a 3-meter proximity on them.
Yeah.
Like, so there's at least some realistic chance of you hitting someone in the air sometimes. What do you think about Ephemera having matching EN and explosive defense? That's raising it by 30 points.
Ephemera?
Yeah. Core.
Ephemera core, eh?
It's like 290, 382, and like 332 or something. That's its defenses.
I mean, any buff to Ephemera core is very welcome. For being like a niche core, it doesn't really do its niche particularly well. For me, I kind of like the idea that it's just this relatively heavy, extremely fucking squishy core, but you can pack a lot of damage on it due to the high generator output adjustment. So personally, I just made, let's see, I increased boost efficiency and just gave it. Is it a 126? I think I brought it up to 128 generator output adjustment.
Holy shit, it's already the highest in the game, Vumsy. You gotta chill out, dude.
Like, yeah, but a lot of things are like either it's 150 or it's 128, so I think it's fitting.
Should we just should we just take out melee thrust speed on the menu and just say it's like it doesn't matter. It's like the same stat for all of them except for 2. I don't know what numbers they increase them to, but all the boosters need to be very close to each other is what my conclusion.
Also, your okay, so your what's it called? generalizing melee thrust.
In some way, yeah. Like, it needs to be increased. So, like, little goal here is 777. That's the gate, right? This is the gatekeeper. So everything is going to be below that, but on some scale.
What about Kikaku?
Kikaku still is 14, whatever. 883. It's going to stay there.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I'm not adjusting that. Like, hell no. Like, that's literally its entire purpose. Also, like, tanks, I'm going to increase their melee by a little bit as well, because holy shit. I don't think they considered the weight reduction, or the weight for melee thrust on tanks. Because their boosters aren't terrible, but then you realize they're at a 40% disadvantage because of their weight. So they're like, they have 500, right? 510? But realistically, they're actually like 300.
Yeah.
Which is
I think,
unusable.
honestly, I think the weight penalty is just too high. But that's a systematic change, so I know that you don't like to tamper around too much with that unless you have some very specific idea in mind.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, because, like, for weight, for instance, the attitude stability, I just found that just cutting out one entire weight category is just way easier, and it did exactly what I wanted it to do, which was make it more linear, which you explained when we were off stream, how that works. And it's like, yeah, that is better. And I think having a hybrid system is actually way better, where you have like a hybrid system of classes. Then at a certain point, it's more
really,
like
what's
homogenized.
really holding like melee back is the fact that unless you go lightweight, meaning like 70k and below, like you're there a lot of builds that you just can't catch because you become too slow. Like you can't do midweight melee reasonably. Like some builds just get away from you too easily, which is a big shame. So at least like the midweight range could be brought up, if not the heavyweight one. Because yeah, no, like I don't know, for some reason melee boost just drops off a fucking cliff for no goddamn reason. Meaning that you can't really run a lot of different melee cancel setups without becoming just too slow for fun.
Gridwalker is also a pretty good melee booster, isn't it?
Like, well, the thing is, it depends on what purpose that melee thrust should serve, because either it's something that you use for movement, or it's something that you just use for a single punish once. Meaning that you don't really melee cancel at people, you just get the stagger, get relatively close, and then boost towards them with melee thrust to get the punish. But generally, let's see now. I think I don't have the game in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that NGI melee thrust is like barely playable. Like it's almost unplayable. So anything below NGI booster should be brought up for sure, and NGI can also be brought up a little bit. For instance, yeah, Gil's complete joke, Mule complete joke, like it's basically just NGI.
I did boost like Mule up by Mule is actually a pretty eco booster now, by the way.
That's
very eco. Like if you assault boost with it, you ain't moving fast, but you're moving faster than neutral movement, and you can keep that going for a little while.
That's good.
Next time we play, you might want to make some Mule builds so I can see how they interact.
Oh, nice. Do you know what's actually a very funny combo? If you get Mule into a good state.
Oh yeah, what's that?
It's Mule and Lance.
Oh lordy, okay.
Yeah, because like the charge attack takes almost like 0 energy to use. It's pretty funny.
This is something I'd have to see. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like if you compare it to one of the more expensive melee thrust boosters, then it's actually just night and day. I think it would be nice if, like, to some capacity, every booster is more or less able to melee cancel for movement. And it's fine that Kikaku and Flugel is like king at that, but like for in terms of melee canceling, anything below Flugel is actually unusable.
Well, I was
And
thinking
Flugel is
like
arguably unusable just
if we
because
want
it's so expensive.
if we want to make things more complicated, you can just change the melee boost duration on stuff too. So it just boosts longer. So like at Flugel or whatever, Kikaku, they just boost longer, which is like a different benefit than just like a flat speed, right? Because they maintain that speed longer.
If you want your system to be like quirky, compared to vanilla, and it's like some people will like it, other people will hate it or whatever. But basically, you just make every melee thrust Kikaku, and then yeah, you adjust boost duration.
I think it's a lot simpler actually to do it that way, to be honest, but it doesn't look as pretty on the menus.
Yeah, then you can kind of time. Basically, the way you'd have to adjust that in that case would be to tie the melee thrust duration to the quick boost reload. So that at certain weight thresholds or ranges or whatever, like a booster might become unusable for melee cancel because it's too heavy and like it doesn't support the quick boost reload for melee canceling. That's one way to do it. But it does mess up with people's muscle memory, but to be honest, if you leave like Ikaku and Flugel pretty much as is, like you don't change those two too much, then you know every other booster is just fun and fine because no other booster is used for melee canceling.
Right. I mean, they're not.
Yeah, so
You really can't use them, to be honest. So.
yeah, no, you can't. Like it can't be done.
Alright, let's see here.
It'd probably be really funny for tanks because tanks have relatively long quick boost reload. Especially like once you get some weight on them. But then you can just make tanks. They don't really go that fast because they're very heavy, but boy do they go long.
Oh yeah, you could do that, huh? That would work too.
Yeah, and like I said, as long as Kikaku and Flugel is relatively similar, like especially not shorten their melee boost duration, and then use those two as a baseline for like further balancing between melee boost duration and quick boost reload time, then yeah, it'll just be fun and everyone will like it, I think. Because then you can use more boosters as a melee user, but they have their nuances to them. Like Gills, you gotta get really spammy, for instance, so that would be pretty funny. Just melee quick boost, melee quick boost, melee quick boost.
Yeah, skills eats up a shit ton of energy when you try to do anything with it. Like when you're what is it? When you're actually dashing, how much energy it eats is crazy. It's the highest in the game. It's like 660. Very high. I guess as well. Alright. Let's see. Cool. All right, booster's done.
Okay, I think I'm done assembling this science project. I bought one of those vapor puffer thingies that you can recharge that aren't like one use.
What? What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, like those vape things that you refill, right? I got myself one of those because I'm trying to quit smoking.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, I tested out those like just one-time use things, and like it's fine. It gets the job done. So now I got a refillable one to, you know, save money long term.
Dude, I'm kind of scared touching boat, like any of the tanks at all. It's like you adjust them just a little bit, all of a sudden they just fucking break the game having a melee tank.
I think with if you're not adjusting weight, then I find it hard to believe that it won't be fine.
I actually forgot to adjust the melee cost for tanks, so now they'll have also 0 melee costs on the initial boost. So this is gonna be fun. This will be fun indeed.
Like
This is gonna be something.
yeah, it's like for the most part, it's very hard to go wrong with buffing melee. It is in a very terrible spot. Aside from like a melee punish, but in terms of like melee punish where you run double guns and then just melee, like then it's just a matter of damage, directed damage adjustment. If some melee weapon is too much as a punish.
I don't actually think melee users are going to be in any difference of a position because I've adjusted, for the most part, every parameter. I think they're just going to be more stylish in their engagements.
Yeah.
Which I think is like, that's actually my objective. It's not to change the game's dynamics so much to where it's unrecognizable to vanilla. It's to where everything you take from vanilla will work in the patch. It's just like, you'll have expanded abilities pretty much that are things you already do. It's just you can do them even better now.
Hooray, like my mother always said, do better. Anyway, I gotta hop off. I need to boot up. It's getting late. I got the day off tomorrow, so it's fine. But yeah, need to get going.
Well, thanks for taking the time to jump in chat.
Hey, no worries. I'll see you around.
Yes, till next time, Vumsy. Oh, yes. Anyone here that doesn't know who Vumsy is, I think everybody does, but if you don't, definitely go check him out.